Well, hello again and welcome to my channel. I'm Fraser from Metalworking in France. Got a little bit of a change here. I haven't got my uniform on today. I'm having a few days away. I'm in dear old Blighty at the moment, but this is just an introduction into this next video. I made a Colt 45 replica many years ago, probably about nearly 50 years ago. I'm just going to show you a little breakdown on it. Not going to show you all of it because I can't really take the whole thing apart, but I'll show you what it's compiled of. Okay, so follow me in the next few frames and see how this goes. I do. Well, here you can see this is my replica Colt 45 Peacemaker. 1873 was the patent originally on this gun. As you can see, I've made some dummy bullets as well. I must stress, this gun cannot be fired, would not ever be fired, basically because the main frame, the frame around here, which holds the chamber, is made of brass, so that wouldn't be any good anyway. And also the barrel is certainly not bored right through. In fact, part way down, I won't show you exactly where you can't see it. There is a hardened or a tungsten carbide pin which is put through the barrel. It's offset so that it could never be drilled out or knocked out. You'd never find the center of it. So this barrel could never be used. Everything on it is just made of steel. There's no hardening on it or anything like that. So it's literally just a replica of a Colt 45. It operates, but it would never ever fire bullets. This gun was originally manufactured with 3 different barrel lengths. This is the 5-inch barrel, which was the standard barrel that it came in. The Army issue was a 7-inch barrel, which came out to about here somewhere. Quite a lot longer barrel. Obviously a more accurate weapon, in actual fact. But then there was also a shorter barrel version, it came to about the same length as the ejector tube, which was actually favoured by the supposedly quick draw artists because it would clear the holster much quicker. It was 4 3/4 inches long. So yeah, that's not a bad little piece of kit. I'm quite proud of that actually. When I made it many years ago, probably nearly 50 years ago. Yeah, very nice looking gun. I do love the shape of it, the feel of it, holding the butt in the hand. It sits nicely, as you can imagine. It's basically a bit of a legend of a weapon. As you can see, all these bits are, well, fairly intricate. I can't really take everything apart because some of these screws, they've been in there for about 40 years since I built this thing, and they're a bit tough to get out, and I don't want to damage the screw heads by trying to force them to get them out. But the trigger mechanism works fine. It is half cock, and then there's full cock, which is back here somewhere, and the trigger is in that position. So when the trigger is pulled, there's a spring in the stock itself, which throws the hammer forward. There's a little spring underneath here, which you can see here, which operates on the trigger itself to keep pressure on the trigger. So it keeps it in the forward position, so that when it's pulled, it releases the hammer, the spring in the hammer. The stock, as you can see, is made of one piece walnut, solid piece of walnut. I sculpted that out myself. It took quite a lot of doing to get the right shape and get it nice and smooth. It hasn't been varnished or anything like that. It's just been polished up to give it a nice finish. As you can see, this all slots in. This is the main spring for the trigger itself, and that operates obviously on the hammer. So this goes into the stock, i.e. like that. So all these bits all come apart. I made this thing probably about, it must be nearly 50 years ago. In fact, I think it was about 50 years ago. So, but as I said before, I must emphasise that this gun cannot and will not ever be fired. It won't take live ammunition. I've made some dummy ammunition just to give it an authentic look. So in fact the cartridges are actually solid brass with an aluminium head, a projectile head. So and they've got rings on the back of them to make them look like bullets, but they're not real, and they could never ever be misconstrued as being real. The chamber itself has got like a gear effect on the back of it, which indexes around as the hammer is pulled back. There's a pawl inside. It's on this side, inside the frame. I don't know whether you can see that operating inside there. You might just be able to see it. It's not easy to see, but that indexes the chamber round from each bullet. It was quite complex actually to get the angle right, so that when the hammer pulled back, the bullet or the chamber lined up with the barrel. This is a bearing that goes into this chamber. This goes in the back here, or in the front of it, and then there's another bearing that goes inside, which locks into underneath the frame to hold the whole thing in place. What I'll do is I'll put put the camera up on a tripod, and then you can see me reassembling this thing, if I can remember how it all goes back together. The barrel, in fact, as I stated earlier, I said it was steel, but it's not. It's actually brass. Again, because it's brass, there's no way would you ever try to fire it. Nothing on this gun could actually be used in a proper firearm. The one or two bits like this could possibly be modified and hardened. The frame, as I say, it was brass, so that could never be used, because obviously the original frame on the Colt 45 was a case hardened steel. So and in fact most of these parts were case hardened rather than solidly hardened. Hardening can be quite brittle if you're not careful, whereas case hardening literally just puts a hardened skin on everything, so the metal itself is still fairly ductile, and it won't shatter or break under any pressure. Okay, so let's put this thing back together. Right, now we'll put this thing back together. Put the trigger guard back on first, which is these two screws here. Just get the screwdriver lined up. Wind these screws in here. Not too big a deal. Another one here. Do those two loosely, just so that I can get this one to line up. And one in the base. Oh, whoops. Just get that to line up a little bit, and then I can wind this one in. Okay, not too bad. Just put the stock back on. It's quite a tight fit, so obviously, as you can see, it was made to measure. So this just goes back in here. Two screws here, if I can get that to line up a little better. There you go. here. And then there's one in the base. By the way, all these screws were actually made to suit. They're all handmade screws, which I made to suit the item. Basically, they're not screws you can actually buy off the shelf. So, as I say, I had to actually make every screw so that it looked a bit more authentic. So, that's coming on quite nicely. It's looking quite the part. So there we go. We're getting very close to it now. Right. Now just put the barrel in. The barrel just screws in quite nicely, quite easily. And even the sight kind of lines up. So it doesn't need to line up exactly because, as I say, this thing's never ever going to be fired. So it's not possible to fire it, I'm afraid. So just slide this ejector in. As you can see, this is all been handmade to suit. This goes in there, like so. And then there's one screw goes in the base of this, just to locate it and hold it in place. Okay, so it's taking shape quite nicely. Okay, next thing is this bearing has to go and the ejector tube works quite nicely. Oh, pop, there you go. Well, there we are, the legendary Colt 45 Frontier, or Peacemaker, I think it was nicknamed. Quite a nice looking gun, well balanced. I don't fire weapons, but this one won't fire anyway, as I said many times. I can't stress enough of this, but this gun would not be able to fire. So there's the half cock position, and that's the full cock position. If it had bullets in it, then pull the trigger and bang, off we go. Another gunslinger dead. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. Look out for more videos in the future, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my site, and I'll see you in the next video. Look out for more in the future. Goodbye.